Okay, this is our last unit for the quarter on conics. So taking a look at this geometric shape here, what two shapes do you see? Can you describe it? Well, what we have is a form of a conic, all four kinds. We have a right circular cone being intersected by a plane, depending on how the plane is hitting this right circular cone. So we all know these four concepts here. Here's a visual of it geometrically, why these shapes are the way they are. Conic comes from the word cone, so it's the intersection of a right circular cone and a plane. So there is a PDF on the weekly planner that we're going to be writing on, or you can have the one filled in and printed out. So we're going to be writing and graphing equations of parabolas today. That's our objective. And this conic in the weekly planner page is useful for when it comes to the test. All right, so we have different types of parabolas. We have a horizontal one. So we have it going to the left and to the right-hand side, depending if the P is positive or a negative P. So we have something called a vertex, which is that red dot there is H comma K. We have a focus there, which is inside the parabola, a distance away from the vertex, and it's H plus P comma K. We have a directrix line, which is that line there that's in the dotted line. That's X equals H minus P. We have something called a lattice rectum, which is just knowing, what's important about this is just knowing that it's in front of here, right here for P. Where do we get this P distance? The P distance is from the vertex to the focus there, so however many boxes, that's your P distance. And then we do have an axis of symmetry, which is going through the vertex and focus. We also have it with a negative P going to that left-hand side, which I've circled in this orange over here. Here's the equation, y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Then we have our one that we all know of is the vertical one, happy face and unhappy face. Again, the vertex is the red dot, h comma k. The focus is the point that's inside the parabola, h comma k plus p. We have our directrix line, y equals k minus p, that dotted one. We have our lattice rectum, which is 4p, which is in front of the equation here. And here's the equation. The x is coming first, so it's x minus h squared equals 4p, y minus k. And then again, we could have it flipped upside down if the p is negative. All right, let's take a couple examples here to look at. You can skip over this. Find the equation of a parabola with the vertex at 0, 0, and the focus is at 3, 0, and graph it. So I like to graph it visually first. So here's my vertex at 0, 0. My focus is at 3, 0. I labeled it as F. We know that it's one of those horizontal parabolas, so I already sketched it in, right? My parabola here. I'm writing down the formula. And I'm plugging in all the information I know. We know the vertex there is 0, 0. That's the H and the K. We know the focus here is 3, 0. We know that to get the P, that's that distance from the vertex to the focus. So that's 3 boxes. So I'm plugging in 4 times 3 to get 12. So my equation for this parabola is y squared equals 12x. All right. Let's move on to next one. Find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the equation x squared equals negative 12y and graph it. So we know if you go back to those two equations, which one is it? This is a vertical parabola because it starts with x squared. They have no numbers attached to the x and the y, so that means the vertex must have been 0, 0. So I have that plotted. We have negative 12 there, and the 12 is negative, so that means it's an unhappy or negative p-value. So if I take it out and say 4 times what p is going to give me the negative 12, I divide by 4, so I know my p is negative 3. So I'm going to go down 3 boxes, so here's my focus is at 0, negative 3. So I have over here my focus at 0, negative 3. My directrix equation, y equals k minus p. Well, k is 0, p is negative 3. So that means my directrix line is y equals 3. As you could see, 3 boxes going up. All right, let's use one that's shifted. Find the equation of a parabola with the vertex is -2, 3. Focus is 0, 3, and graph it. So I started to graph it first, -2, 3. My focus is here at 0, 3. So I already know this is one of those horizontal parabolas, and I wrote down the equation here. All right, so we have h and k, so that's easy enough to plug in, -2 and 3. What is the p-value? Well, let's see. We got, count the boxes. I did that in red there. It is 2 boxes. So we know it's 8 there. Let's see what the equation would say. Y minus 3 squared equals 8 times, and x minus a -2 becomes x plus 2 squared. And my directrix line is h minus p, so -2 minus 2, which is x equals -4, which is what I have graphed right there. All right, the last thing that we need to learn how to do is something called completing the square. You should have learned this in Algebra 2, but we do need to review it. How do I know I need to complete the square? Well, I need to complete the square because we don't have any standard form of any of the conics that we know. So step 1 says you must have all your x's on the left-hand side and the y's and numbers on the right. Y's and numbers on the right. So only thing I'm going to be moving here is that -4y by adding it over. So it's plus 4y. So now I have an equation that looks like this. X squared plus 4x equals 4y. Step 2, once you've done step 1, is to start to complete the square. How do I complete the square? So I have x squared plus 4x plus something at the end here. I need to figure out what this number is. So to complete the square, you're going to take your b value, got cut off there, divide it in half, and square it. So what's my b value here? It's 4. So I'm going to take my 4, divide it in half, and I'm going to square it. So 2 squared is 4. So the number that I'm putting on both sides there, as you can see highlighted and it's in blue, is 4. I need to balance the equation, so I'm doing it on both sides. So it should say x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 4y plus 4. So we just finished step 2. Step 3, we need to factor both sides. So I need to factor that x squared plus 4x plus 4, and I need to factor the 4y plus 4. So this is my standard trinomial factoring. So it's what factors of 4 add up to 4. That's x plus 2, x plus 2. On the right-hand side, that's GCF factoring. So I'm going to pull out a 4, and I'm left with y plus 1. I'm going to condense this, so it says x plus 2 squared. So it actually looks like a parabola equation. 4 times y plus 1. Take a look at your paper. This is a vertical parabola again. My h and my k. Here's my h. Here's my k, which I have as -2, -1 because I was plus 1. My focus or my p-value, if I take out that 4 there in front, which is in orange, 4p to equal 4, the p must have been 1. So if I start plugging in those numbers there for the focus, I got -2 for h. K plus p, well, -1 plus 1 is 0. So this is my focus. And my directrix says k minus p. So it's going to be a -1 minus 1. So y equals -2. My axis of symmetry. And yeah, that's what it should look like. All right, let's do one more equation. Let's put this in step 1, standard form first. All my x's on the left, my y and numbers on the right. All right, so I did that. So I got x squared minus 4x equals 8y plus 4 on the right. Now I need to complete the square. Well, what is the b value? That's the one that's right over here. So I'm going to do -4 in half squared. That's -2 squared, which is 4. Okay, so I'm going to have it as x squared minus 4x plus 4 to equal 8y plus 4. And then remember, you have to balance the equation, so I have to add the 4 again. So what do I have on the left? X squared minus 4x plus 4. On the right, I have 8y plus 8. All right, step 3, I need to factor. So let's factor both sides here. All right, be careful on the left here. Factors of 4 that add up to -4, so they both must be -2. My right-hand side is GCF, so I'm going to pull out an 8. So I'm left with y plus 1. Let's condense the left to one thing so it looks like the parabola equation. So it's x minus 2 squared equals 8 parentheses y plus 1. If I look at my lovely equations again, this is a vertical parabola, vertical. So my h and k is 2 comma -1. Let's take a look at the equation. My focus here is h comma k plus p. So my h is 2, my k is -1, but what is my p here? Well, my p is coming from this. So 4p to equal 8, my p is 2. So I'm going to have it as plus 2 here. Okay, so my focus is 2 comma 1. Okay, so if I was to do a quick sketch of this, 2, -1 is my vertex. 2 comma 1 is up here's my focus, is my vertex, my focus. It's a happy parabola vertically going up. Okay, then I need to get my directrix, which is y equals k minus p. My k is -1. My p minus p here again was 2, so it's y equals -3. So that's down this way. And then my axis of symmetry is x equals h, so that's x equals h, which is 2.